telescoping series, and what that is a series that cancels out terms in the middle as it goes down the line. So our example today is 1 over n times n plus 1, and as it stands we can't work with this problem, and by the way this is n at any x value. As it stands we can't work with this problem here because the denominator is it needs to be broken up so that we can work with it, and it will be seen as a series that you're used to seeing, because a telescoping series in general you'll have this term here minus this term here, and that's usually what you'll see in a telescoping series, so we need to get this in a way that you can recognize over here. So the way we do that is with partial fraction decomposition, and that's a over n plus b over n plus 1 equals 1. Cross multiply, we've got a n plus 1 plus b n equals 1. We'll give that a moment to focus so you can see what's going on here. Now the way we solve this is we have to say, okay, for what n value does b cancel out? In this case it's 0. So then we plug in a 0 for this n, and you've got 0 plus 1 equals 1. So a equals 1. Now what n value would get a to be 0? Let's focus for a second. So the n value we need to get a to equal 0, or to get a to cancel out and b multiplied by 0, is a negative 1. So we're going to put in negative 1, b equals 1, divide by negative 1, b equals negative 1. So we've got our a and b values here. So now we just sub that back in. I'm lying, 1 over n plus negative 1 over n plus 1, or 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1. And now this is in a form that looks similar to this, and we can work with this now as a telescoping series. So we'll start plugging in n values then. So 1 over 1 minus 1 over 1 plus 1, which is just 1 minus 1 half, plus, and we've got 1 over 2 minus 1 over 2 plus 1, which is just 1 half minus 1 third, 1 over 3 minus 1 over 3 plus 1 is 1 third minus 1 fourth, and we'll go one more term just so we can kind of start to see a pattern here. If you haven't seen it already, be 1 over 4 minus 1 over 4 plus 1, 1 fourth minus 1 fifth. Okay, and so then we've got that continuing series, and our general term is again 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1. So the pattern you're seeing here, you've got a negative 1 half and a positive 1 half. Those two things are going to cancel out. You've got a negative 1 third and a positive 1 third. They're canceling. Negative 1 fourth and a positive. They're canceling. And that's going to continue down the line. And so the term you're seeing left here that doesn't cancel is this 1. So this would mean that the sum is 1. If you were to take the sum of this series, so the sum of from n equals 1 to infinity of 1 over n times n plus 1 equals 1.